What's happening, my friends? We are going to be doing something very special today, and that is we are going to be spending over 20 million Stardust in Pokemon GO to power up some of my Pokemon to both level 40 and level 50. After spending many hours researching which Pokemon are best for PvE, I think I'm ready to take my gameplay to the next level. So with that being said, let's load up Pokemon GO and get spending that Stardust. So at the moment, my Stardust currently stands at 31,728,707. And if we go ahead and take a look at my Pokemon storage, you can see these are my current top 12 Pokemon. I'm sure this order is soon going to change. For those of you that don't know, the Pokemon that have a dot in front of their names are my 100% IV Pokemon. So for example, this shiny Lucky Mewtwo is actually a 100% IV Pokemon, therefore making it a Schlundo. Now if we go to my tagged Pokemon and scroll on down, you can see that I've created 4 additional folders, and those are Power to 40, Power to 50, Shadow 40 and Shadow 50. This is where some planning and forward thinking comes into play. So the Power 40 and Shadow 40 folders are for those Pokemon that today will only be powered to level 40. The reason for this is that the Pokemon within these folders currently require additional XL candy to take them from level 40 all the way to level 50, and that's the painful part. Therefore that means the Pokemon within the Power 50 and Shadow 50 folders will today be maxed all the way to level 50. Oh my goodness. Now my friends, it's time for less talking and more spending. So if we jump into the Power to 40 folder, these are all of the non-Shadow Pokemon that today will be powered up to level 40. As you can see, there's a range of Pokemon within this folder that will all have a unique purpose going forward in Pokemon GO. Now bear with me as I quickly power all of these up. And that's just round 1 of powering up Pokemon. And would you believe that these Pokemon have just cost me 3,923,200 Stardust to power up simply to level 40. This is going to be an expensive video. Now let's go ahead and jump in the Shadow to 40 folder, and this is where things get a little bit more expensive. Bear with me please as I go through the pain of powering all of these up. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit painful. Now all of these Shadow Pokemon will have an effective use for me in the PvE environment, and to power up these Shadow Pokemon alone, it's just cost me 4,322,141 Stardust, and that's only powering them to level 40. Now let's go ahead and jump in the Power to 50 folder, and this is where things get even more spicy. So this is where things get a little bit more expensive, but literally all of these Pokemon will have such insane use for me going forward in the PvE world. Now with that being said, 2 minutes please. So as I said, these Pokemon are starting to get a little bit more expensive, and to simply power up these Pokemon alone, it has just cost me 5,970,300 Stardust to max these all the way to level 50. But my goodness, look at the CP ranges on these Pokemon. Oh, they're going to cause some problems going forward. And last but not least, the most expensive folder, the Shadow to 50 Pokemon. Now these Pokemon are the tanks of all tanks when it comes to the PvE environment. For my playstyle going forward, I need the best of the best Pokemon when it comes to raids, gym battles, Gigantamax battles, max battles, Team Go Rocket, you name it, I need the best of the best Pokemon. But not only that, it's going to help out my fellow trainers, especially when we have lower numbers when it comes to raid battles. So the better that I invest into my Pokemon, the more that they'll benefit as well. So please bear with me 2 minutes whilst I go through the pain of spending so much Stardust right now. Now, did I not say this was going to be a very expensive day? And these Pokemon alone have just cost me a whopping 7,449,687 Stardust to power them all the way up to level 50. My goodness. But again, let's change this to be combat power to be the highest, and look at the new CP ranges of all of these Pokemon. My goodness, I seriously cannot wait to see these in action. Now with all that candy, XL candy and Stardust being invested, let's take a look at what my top 12 Pokemon now look like. So the moment of truth, combat power from high to low. And ooh, we have some new heavy hitters at the top. As you can see, we now have the Zacian in first place, followed by the white and black Kyurem. We have the Zamazenta coming in 6th, the Groudon joins the Kyogre, and both the Dawnwings and Dustmane Necrozma join the top 12. Oh My goodness. And if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit further, you can see that the Shadow Garchomp has climbed the list, the Yveltal's climbed the list, the Metagross, the Shadow Salamence. My goodness, I seriously cannot wait to try these Pokemon out in raids, gym battles, Team Go Rocket, Gigantamax, Max battles, you name it. These are going to do some damage. So from powering up all of these Pokemon today, I have spent a whopping 21,665,328 Stardust. That's right. But I have to say it's 100% a worthy investment because I've always said if you're going to be a level 50 Pokemon Go trainer, you need to have level 50 Pokemon. Now believe me, that's not always the case, but if you're like myself and have such a small community, you need to have the best Pokemon available to be able to have a better chance of successfully defeating the challenge raid boss. And not only just raid bosses, you've got to think of Gigantamax Pokemon because those are absolute beasts. And would you believe after spending just over 20 million Stardust, we still have ourselves just over 10 million Stardust left. Thinking about it, with some of the Pokemon I've just powered up, I might go ahead and give them a secondary move because something like the Garchomp can be used in both the Dragon and Ground category. And there we have it, my friends, over 20 million Stardust spent in Pokemon Go in literally a matter of minutes. Be sure to let me know what Pokemon out of the bunch that were powered up today is your favourite, and as always, stay awesome, my friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.